News channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I'm Patrick Christys. This is Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition. You are not going to want to miss this.
In January, he said that she would be in post till the next election. Will she really?
Prime Minister! She certainly won't.
Every single national newspaper is hammering Rachel Reeves and Sir Keir Starmer after that tearful display. And it's as you would expect. It's the moment that the Prime Minister would not defend his Chancellor as she sobbed behind him. That is dominating the front pages. And we're hearing reports tonight in the Daily Mail that Angela Rayner might have been behind Rachel Reeves' tears. So we're going to be talking about all of that. But just moments ago, the Prime Minister said this.
She decided to quit, or you'd said to her, Rachel, I'm sorry?
Look, firstly, Nick, is that
wrong?
It's wrong. I can just tell you that. That's absolutely wrong. Got nothing to do with politics, nothing to do with what's happened this week.
Someone's lying, aren't they? Someone is lying. We will get to the bottom of it. In other news, P. Diddy has avoided life in prison after being found not guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking charges. I will be speaking to US Attorney Gloria Allred, known for taking the highest profile women's rights cases in the country. Plus,
this is the kitchen where they make your food. This is where they make your food, big boy burgers.
the Sun newspaper has claimed the Big Boy Burgers Asylum Hotel restaurant shut down as their own exclusive. Hang on a minute. We covered it yesterday on this show. Thank you very much. All of that and more. Well, joining me tonight to pick to you one of the most sensational days in British politics ever is GB News contributor Cressida Wetton. We've got writer and broadcaster Nina Mishkov and activist Adam Brooks. But first, let's get those headlines with Lewis Mackenzie.
Good evening. Here are your latest headlines from the GB Newsroom. MPs have voted to prescribe Palestine Action as a terrorist organisation. This comes as the group targeted an RAF base and Israeli Defence Company's UK headquarters. It means it will become a criminal offence punishable by up to 14 years in prison to be a member of the group or to support them. Sir Keir Starmer has faced his first PMQs since a Labour backbench rebellion forced a major welfare U-turn. The Conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, called it a humiliating climb down and accused the Prime Minister of weakness.
After last night's humiliating U-turn, we know he cannot control his MPs. They're cheering now, but you signed the amendment. You signed the amendment. Over 100 people signed that reasoned amendment until the bill was completely gutted. He said that he would take the difficult decisions, but isn't the reality that he is too weak to get anything done?
But Sir Keir Starmer hit back, blaming the Conservatives for the state of the welfare system.
They broke it. And it's the same as the NHS. What did they do? They broke it. Same as the economy. What did they do? They broke it. They broke everything that they touched. And now she describes the broken system that we are trying to fix. We're fixing it. We're clearing up the mess that they left, just like we're clearing up the NHS and the economy.
In other news, the judge has denied bail for Sean Diddy Coombs while he awaits his sentence. The judge ruled that he will remain behind bars as he awaits sentencing, citing years-long patterns of violence. The music mogul was found not guilty of racketeering and not guilty of sex trafficking ex-partner Cassandra Ventura and another woman referred to as Jane, but he was found guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution related to both women. He will remain in custody as he awaits sentencing. Murder Squad's detectives have passed new evidence to prosecutors, raising the prospect of further charges against child killer Lucy Letby. The CPS is now reviewing the file in which relates to more baby deaths at hospitals where she worked. It comes as 3 former bosses at the Countess of Chester Hospital were arrested for suspected gross negligence manslaughter. Letby is already serving 14 life terms for murdering and attempting to murder babies between 2015 and 2016. Those are your latest GB News headlines for now. I'm Lewis Mackenzie.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Hello and welcome to Patrick Christys Tonight Late Edition, and this is by far and away the best set of front pages that I have got for you. So, the Eye, Reeves' future in doubt after tearful PMQs. They've done a bullet point list of everything that's gone belly up. The markets were unsettled after the Prime Minister failed to guarantee Reeves' future. The cost of UK debt payments increased. Number 10 later insisted it was a personal matter. The Chancellor's sister comforted Rachel Reeves in the chamber. Number 10 denied that she had a row or offered to quit, and some Labour MPs are demanding now a reshuffle immediately. So there we go. The Independent wounded PM refuses to back tearful Reeves or rule out tax rises. I mean, get a load of that. It's got it all, especially the picture of Rachel Reeves wiping tears from her cheeks. The Guardian, tears and turmoil as PM forced to defend the Reeves welfare fiasco. Starmer tries to soothe jittery markets with a vow to support the Chancellor. Well, I'm sorry, but it's a bit too little too late for that. And the problem there, of course, as ever with Sir Keir Starmer, is fundamentally one of credibility. Do you believe the video clip that I'm about to play you very shortly? Do you believe it? The Daily Telegraph, pound falls after Reeves' tears. And this is the other aspect to it. Look, if it was a personal matter, then Rachel Reeves has helped to crash the pound because, regrettably, and I feel sorry saying this, she couldn't keep it together in the House of Commons. If it was a professional matter, well, she still crashed the pound. And frankly, should she have really cried in Parliament? The Daily Mail, what or who caused the tears that sparked turmoil in the markets? The Daily Mail has essentially blamed Angela Rayner and said that the Deputy Prime Minister is to blame for, in part anyway, for that really sad face. Their columnist, Sarah Vine, former wife of Michael Gove, of course, says Rachel needed a hug. Instead, Starmer sucked her dry to shore up his own position like the political vampire that he is. Grief. The Sun, government in meltdown, and they believe that they've got what Rachel Reeves said immediately before she started crying, which is, quote, I'm under so much pressure. Questions to be different story leads the way. It's P. Diddy, freak show they've gone for. He's been found not guilty of 3 offences, guilty of 2, has been denied bail. I've just found out as well, apparently. He's been denied bail. What sentence will he get? We've got a top-notch US lawyer on to talk about exactly this. Let's just whiz ourselves on to the next one. It's Daily Express. Day of drama leaves Reeves on the brink. Sir Keir Starmer is scrambling, apparently, to try to shore up that mess. Their picture story, though, is brave face Kate, Princess Catherine, on really difficult cancer recovery. That's what they've gone for there. The Times, Reeves battles doubters after PM spooks markets. So we've already got points of difference opening up here in the front pages. They are blaming the Prime Minister here for essentially poor decision-making, putting her in a bad position, and him, and by not backing her, spooking the markets. A final paper for you is The Mirror. They have gone for a smaller one of Rachel Reeves, there is banter and there is bullying the Tory leader crossed the line. So the left-wing Mirror have taken the view that Kemi Badenoch bullied Rachel Reeves to tears, which I can say is, well, I just don't think that's necessarily true. But anyway, their big story is, Kate, my roller coaster recovery. Princess tells her struggle to find new normal after cancer treatment, and Diddy guilty. Right. OK, let's get stuck into the big story of the day, which is Rachel Reeves and her tears. I'm just going to do it, actually. I'm going to play you this minute-long clip of Sir Keir Starmer, just speaking now to the BBC's Nick Robinson. And this is, bear in mind the front pages, this is what he's had to say about the Rachel Reeves saga.
You know, she's made it clear it's a personal matter. And I'm not going to go into the personal matter of a colleague. What I will say is that she's done an excellent job as Chancellor. We have delivered inward investment to this country in record numbers, £120 billion. That'll be measured in jobs. We've created conditions for wages to go up, and we've jointly worked on the spending review, which is very broadly popular. She's done a fantastic job. She and I work together, we think together, and in the past there have been examples, I won't give any specific, of chancellors and prime ministers who weren't sort of in lockstep. We're in lockstep.
People assumed it was because of politics. She decided to quit, or you'd said to her, Rachel, I'm sorry.
Look, firstly, Nick, is that
wrong?
It's wrong. I can just tell you that. That's absolutely wrong. Got nothing to do with politics, nothing to do with what's happened this week.
Shortly, I'm going to be speaking to a political presentation expert who's going to be analysing both Rachel Reeves' body language and Sir Keir Starmer's, and let's just find out whether or not that Prime Minister is lying. And Adam, I'll start with you on this. Someone's not telling the truth. The Daily Mail have gone off on the idea that it's Angela Rayner who stuck the knife in. Sir Keir Starmer's saying, oh, it's a personal matter and therefore I can't talk about it. Who do you believe?
I don't believe any of them, if I'm honest. Labour have proven that they're liars throughout. Something is desperately wrong here. I don't think it's a personal issue. I think it's the pressure of the job. And if that is the case, she's got to go. She's harmed many millions of people in this country, and her actions have cost businesses, have cost livelihoods, and we cannot have someone that weak, if the pressure is on, that just breaks down. Again, if it's a personal issue, if she's ill or something like that, I have sympathy, not for her job. OK, I'll ask you, Cressida, on this. I mean, the Daily Mail's front page has got what or who caused the tears that sparked the turmoil in the markets. How do you feel about what we've seen today, about this story?
To me, it feels like you're in a nightclub and you've had too much sambuca, and then you see your old school bully in the toilets crying. And you're absolutely torn, you know, because when I saw her, I don't approve of what she's done. I agree with most of what Adam said. But when I saw her, I felt devastated for her. It's everyone's worst nightmare. It's this turning up at school without your trousers on dream times 100. So I do feel compassionate for her. Not logically, not when I think it through, then I start to agree with Adam. But no, it just looks horrendous. And I don't know how you can ever separate what's a personal matter from the job. I mean, that's a really stressed person who's had a straw today that's broken the camel's back, whatever that... And it almost doesn't matter, does it? Because she's just super stressed. Yeah, and it's cost us money. See, this is the other angle to the Daily Mail's front page story, Nina. It is ultimately that it sparked market turmoil and has cost us money. Plunged the pounds, massive issues with the bond markets as well. So whatever the reason really is behind those tears in Parliament there, you know, that's unacceptable for the British economy, isn't it?
Well, if you look at it completely cold-bloodedly, you say it's unprofessional. But then, of course, personal matters are personal issues. And the things, what I would point out about the Daily Mail loves to set two women against each other, whether that's right or wrong, whether it goes back to the X Factor and Sharon Osbourne and whoever. Yeah. You know, it's Kate and Meghan. This is typical Daily Mail, and you know, whether she had an argument with Angela Rayner or not, Angela Rayner did not cause those eyes. Those eyes are hours and hours of weeping. Yeah. We women know that. Well,
you say that Angela Rayner didn't cause it. The only reason why I would politely suggest that maybe she did is that we know that Angela Rayner was tasked or took it upon herself to try to broker the climb down and deal and what turned out to be a full frontal U-turn between the Prime Minister and the backbenchers. So if Angela Rayner has ultimately been responsible for this whopping great big U-turn that puts Rachel Reeves up the creek without a paddle in terms of the economy and where she's going to make cuts and where she's going to make tax rises, then really it kind of was Angela Rayner's fault.
Well, yes, you could make that case, but what they're implying is that she said something catty or unkind on the way in, and
that's not going to cause this. This is.
I tend to agree.
Rachel Reeves has been pretty strong for several years, and you don't just break down to this extent over an argument. You really don't.
Can I just play you another clip now? We're going to keep this front page on rotation because you know, she's all over them. But this is the moment that Sir Keir Starmer, like an idiot, refused to back her in the House of Commons.
In January, he said that she would be in post till the next election. Will she really?
Prime Minister. She certainly won't. Mr. Speaker, I have to say I'm always cheered up when she asks me questions or responds to a statement, because she always makes a complete mess of it and shows just how unserious and irrelevant they are.
That is disgusting, I think. Absolutely disgusting. What do you make of that, Adam?
Yeah, look, as I said on the previous programme, from what I hear from people around politics and former Labour MPs that are women, he seems to have a problem with women. And that shows there you would have some sort of compassion. For me, I would try and think of an answer that bats that off.
Just say yes. You just say yes, because they're not going to do you for misleading the House of Commons in the future, because he can just go, well, I'm sorry, but all right,
at this time I have confidence.
But she was in bits next to me, and I'm not. What am I going to do?
To be perfectly honest, I don't think he knew she was crying. You may say, well, my God, he was sitting next to her. But on the other hand, when you're doing PMQs and you've got this folder in front of you, you're pumped up. Don't forget, he was actually in the firing line after the last week, so he's pumped up. He's got his jokes ready, and that was a joke, sort of, you know, oh, she, this, blah, 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 at Kemi Badenoch. He was concentrating on that, and he was so desperate to get these casual lines in to show that he wasn't rattled, that, by the way, means he didn't notice, and it wasn't part of
just giving him
what he should have done.
Him the benefit of the doubt. Chris, can I ask you a question? I hope people know that it's a bit insensitive here, but I would like your view as a woman on this. Has Rachel Reeves let women down a bit here? Your first female Chancellor, the Iron Chancellor, has made quite a big song and dance.
She certainly did make a big song and dance.
Being a woman.
She did.
And then she's
had every right to.
Yeah, fair enough. But now she's crying in the House of Commons and plummeting the pound. I mean, is this actually not great for women?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I'd be the first person to say, look, if you want equality, you've got to, you know, live up to it, you've got to have equality. But we all know when we watch that clip that we feel that that's a woman and not a man. I think there's something very visceral. I don't think it's fair to say she's let women down.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, maybe Keir Starmer's let women down. What a horrendous position to be in. You know, I say it again, I actually feel sorry for her. When I look at this, I cringe and... Yeah.
Patrick, let's also remember, look, this is going to sound very harsh, but in the eyes of tens of millions of people in this country, she's probably one of the most hated women in the country for what she's done over the last year. Maybe that has just started to dawn on her, and now she's got no support from the Prime Minister and her party, and she realises she's on her own with that.
Who's to blame here? Because is it actually Keir Starmer's fault? You know, has she been forced to enact things that he's really wanted and agreed to, and then he's U-turned on it and hung around to dry?
I think she's at the Treasury, you literally carry the can, don't you? So whatever policies are forced upon the government, she carries the can for it. But on the other hand, I think she and Keir Starmer, you jeered about him saying we're in lockstep, but they have been in lockstep for years. And you don't get, they're like Tweedledum and Tweedledee, you don't get one without the other. They are that close in terms of policy, in terms of how they work things. And so I don't think this has anything to do with Keir Starmer dumping her. I sincerely do not.
The I front page, I don't know if you might be able to bring that up. The I front page, the bottom bullet point they've got there is another angle to knock this on a bit. Some Labour MPs demand a reshuffle for a break with the past amid fury over this benefits cuts thing. Well, I mean, the way out of this is to have a reshuffle, surely.
Well, it's one way, isn't it? Well, I don't know if they're going to come out tomorrow saying, oh, it's all fine now, the personal matter's been resolved and she's going to carry on. I don't know. But a reshuffle... It's almost like if they have a reshuffle, then they're admitting that something was really wrong, which we kind of already know because look at her face. So I don't know what they can do to sort this out.
The concern, Adam, as well, just briefly, mate, might be, well, hang on, what comes next?
Yeah.
This
is the thing. Are we going to suddenly have a far left government? And that is a real sort of possibility. Rayner stepping up. Who's going to be Chancellor? Things are bad, and they have been bad over the last 12 months. But things are going to get a lot worse, I feel. And we could possibly have another 3 or 4 years of this if they don't implode.
They will have another 4 years of this.
Not if they implode.
Well, you say implode. I think that the backbench, they will all have had a big fright to see what they've done to the government, and they'll come to their senses at some point, because you have to be, when you are in government, you have to be pragmatic. You have to compromise, and there's a whole new young intake of MPs who are not prepared to do it, haven't learned how to do that yet.
There is a lot more to discuss on this. More information is coming out all the time. And very shortly, I'm going to be speaking to a legendary political presentation coach, Graham Davies. Now, he's going to be analysing not only the tears that we saw on display earlier today from Rachel Reeves, but also the interview the Prime Minister gave moments ago, denying that it was anything to do with politics. We want to know what's really, really going on here. We will find out. This is Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition.
Five hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Well, in the past few minutes, Meghan Markle has paid a sweet tribute to Princess Lilibet as she turns 4 today. It comes just a day after the Duchess of Sussex said she'd love to go into business with her daughter in the future.
Well, that's all it is, another money-making effort there. That's to make up for nobody buying her jam. I mean, do you really care if you see a picture of her kid or not? You do, that's it.
I'd like to see her face, to be honest.
I don't. Now, back to Diana, of course, who was a real star and style icon and whatever. And one day, I can remember I complimented her on her outfit that she was wearing, and it was the same colour as the outfit you were wearing yesterday.
Bottle green?
No. RUC green, Royal Ulster Constabulary green, as she pointed out to me. She said, yes, RUC green, what do you think? And then she went into a whole, literally, sob story. She started crying about a bomb explosion that had been in Northern Ireland or whatever. She was very, very close, very connected with all of that. But, yeah, so...
And knowledgeable as well, by the sounds of things.
She was very knowledgeable, yeah. And then she went on to talk about William and Harry going to school and how that upset her, and they went to boarding school or whatever it is. So we talked about all those things. And I forgot why I was going to tell you that story, but there was some reason. But she was... it was the same colour as what you were wearing yesterday, anyway, the green.
And she was so lovely by the sounds of things.
She was film star status. I mean, you just saw her in a room and you would go...
Wow.
She's special, yeah, she's special.
And I think whoever that was speaking in that report there saying, one of the designers, I think it was the designer of the wedding dress, saying it was just clothes or just a dress, but then Diana wore it and then it was something special. Absolutely. And it became part of history. And that's exactly what happened.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight, late edition. One story in town here, I'm afraid, and that is Rachel Reeves' tears and Sir Keir Starmer's utter denial. Joining me now to analyse body language of the two of them is political presentation coach Graham Davies. Graham, thank you very much. Tremendous to have you on the show. Appreciate you at this late hour. I want to start, if that's OK, with footage of Rachel Reeves crying in the House of Commons earlier today. So we're playing that on the screens now. I'm sure you've seen it. What do you feel as though you're looking at there?
Well, actually, I wasn't completely surprised that she is a human being with human feelings. Yeah. We've already seen a tough side and a softer side to Rachel Reeves in the House of Commons. 3 weeks ago, in the spending review, she had the public speaking style of a Dalek combined with a jackhammer. Short, punchy sentences, 3 or 4 words at a time, hitting her consonants. She battered us for 42 minutes. And perhaps that's the only way to get cut through when you've got 250 people in front of you jeering at you.
Is the reality not, Graham, just to interject there, is the reality not perhaps that actually, I'm aware exactly of what you were talking about, that specific thing. She was in front of a load of workmen somewhere just talking to us. Is the reality not that we've been looking at a broken woman for a while now, and today it just snapped?
Well, she has shown a softer side to herself before. Back in 2016, she paid tribute to her murdered close friend, Jo Cox. And at the end of her speech, she said, Batley and Spen will get a new MP, but no one can replace a mother. And she then sat down and burst into tears. You see, you can just about channel your emotions under pressure with a lot of practice, but you can't completely block them. And today, I think we saw evidence of a personal dam bursting.
OK, and just sticking on that same footage for now, if that's all right, because the other person in that footage really to consider is Sir Keir Starmer. He's taken a lot of flack. Not only did he not back her, he also didn't really seem to acknowledge her. What do you make, looking at the footage that you've seen, of the way Sir Keir Starmer was reacting to this and the way he handled it?
Well, he was certainly very focused on trying to come out with some sort of jokey reply to Kemi Badenoch, rather than being aware of the surroundings beside him and in front of him. And of course, we were in a situation where clearly to the rest of the world, Rachel Reeves was going through some form of emotional crisis. He, as her boss, was totally oblivious to this. And he was given the chance to give a 100% backing, full-throated approval to a colleague who was under extreme pressure. I mean, he not only swerved it, he completely ignored the opportunity and just spoke about himself and his own achievements. That probably didn't feel like to Rachel Reeves that she was being let down. It must have felt like a total betrayal.
And the other person as well, by the way, in this clip is, of course, Angela Rayner, who tomorrow's Daily Mail are blaming for an altercation before we read. Now, Angela Rayner doesn't appear to be looking at Rachel Reeves. She doesn't appear to ever make any real eye contact with her. You can see there, I think, a bit of Lisa Nandy checking in. So some of them were aware of it. Rachel Reeves, if anything, in my view, correct me if I'm wrong here, Graham, does look quite happy.
Well, the thing is about Angela Rayner is that she has toughened herself up considerably over the last year. Of course, there's no sort of SAS training provided to people when they move over from opposition to becoming actual cabinet ministers. Perhaps there should be. You have to sort of find a way of hardening yourself up, but you can't just fake it until you make it. You've got to fake it until you become it. Angela Rayner has mastered the art of having a pretty tough, consistent, relatively emotional face under the pressure of being on the front bench during PMQs. And sadly, Rachel Reeves has not.
No. Let's analyse another clip, because after this utter disaster, really, all round, there were real-world economic consequences to the people of Britain for this. Somewhere in the region of a £3 billion panic sell-off in Britain. The pound plummeted against the euro and the dollar. So there were consequences for that. Sir Keir Starmer, then did an interview with Nick Robinson from the BBC, where he was asked about Rachel Reeves. I'm going to play this interview. It's about a minute long, Graham, and then I'm going to get your views off the back of it, please.
You know, she's made it clear it's a personal matter, and I'm not going to go into the personal matter of a colleague. What I will say is that she's done an excellent job as Chancellor. We have delivered inward investment to this country in record numbers, £120 billion. That'll be measured in jobs. We've created conditions for wages to go up, and we've jointly worked on the spending review, which is very broadly popular. She's done a fantastic job. She and I work together, we think together, and in the past there have been examples, I won't give any specific, of chancellors and prime ministers who weren't sort of in lockstep. We're in lockstep.
People assumed it was because of politics. She decided to quit, or you'd said to her, Rachel, I'm sorry.
Look, firstly, Nick, is that
wrong?
It's wrong. I can just tell you that. That's absolutely wrong. Got nothing to do with...
OK, Graham, a couple of things stood out for me there. He says she's done an excellent job as Chancellor. Past tense, not she is doing. What do you make of that?
That was either a deliberate jab or it was a terribly careless one. You see, he says we work together, we think together, we are in lockstep. There wasn't much lockstepping going on this afternoon. He should have been more sensitive to her before they actually walked into the chamber. She was clearly already distressed then, and he had no consideration for her feelings as things developed. So for him to imply that they are in lockstep together, frankly, it just doesn't add up. If he was giving that evidence in front of a jury, I'm not sure that they would believe him.
No, and it does look a little bit like he was doing something to try to rescue the pound. One final one with you, Graham, if that's OK. I mean, I suppose he's now got to try to... If they are in lockstep, then all of this is ultimately his mistake. But he has lent on the it's a personal matter. It's a personal matter. He said that repeatedly there. But you're looking at all of this today, you know, with your political presentation coach hat on. Regrettably, at some point, does she have to come out and say what this personal matter is? Because it shuts down speculation of an Angela Rayner argument. You know, it might explain why the pound has plunged. Does she not owe us that? You know, is Keir Starmer not pushing all of this on her again to explain what this personal matter is?
In a world that was governed by fairness and decency and natural justice, the phrase, it's a personal matter, would be a full antidote to the situation, and no one would pry further. However, we don't live in such a fair world. There are two people in the House of Commons who, because of their job titles, can't fall behind the it's a personal matter defence. One is the Prime Minister, and the other one is the Chancellor. Unfortunately, if she doesn't seem to be up to the job, it frightens the horses, and more specifically, it frightens bond traders. So I'm afraid the personal matter probably needs a little more explanation in this harsh, unfair world, because otherwise the markets will continue to be affected.
Look, no one's saying this is nice, no one's saying it's an easy business, no one's saying it's necessarily fair, but I think you're probably right about that, and it comes with the territory, I'm afraid, when you're in that line of work. And there'll be a lot of people at home saying, if you can't handle it, you need to get out the kitchen. There'll be other people, of course, saying, we feel for her and we wish her all the best. Graham, thank you very much. Tremendous to have you on. Really good. Graham Davies there, who is a political presentation coach. Look, we're gonna move things on now because there is another big story on at least a couple of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. We are going to be talking about veterans betrayed and has the Sun stole our story. I was going to spoil that for you. The Sun stole our story. Yes, that's right. You always get ahead of the game here on Patrick Christys Night Late Edition. We were ahead of the Sun newspaper. Also, of course, the Diddy trial. Not guilty of 3, guilty of 2. What does it mean for Sean Combs? Stay tuned.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Any showers we've seen this afternoon soon easing away overnight, and it should stay mostly dry, feeling a lot cooler and fresher, particularly if you compare it to nights earlier in the week. Well, we'll see the bulk of the showers easing as across eastern areas of Scotland, northeastern parts of England, eventually allowing a ridge of high pressure to build. So for a time it should be mostly dry this evening, but low pressure never too far away, eventually dragging in more clouds and further showery outbreaks into western Scotland, parts of Northern Ireland by the time we reach the early hours of the morning. But for most, it is going to be remaining dry. It's not going to be feeling quite as muggy or uncomfortable, lows reaching around 8 degrees Celsius in the north. Now, through the course of the morning, we'll eventually see conditions deteriorate from the west. Thicker cloud pushing in here, also some showery outbreaks. These could turn heavy at times, particularly across western parts of Scotland, and fairly similar across Northern Ireland too. We'll continue to see that cloud thicken up from the west, increasing the risk of showers. But elsewhere across England and Wales, it should be a dry start to the day and staying mostly settled too, particularly through the morning and into the afternoon, where we might just start to see some fair weather cloud bubble it, but it should remain dry, still warm in any sunny spells. But across Northern Ireland, parts of Scotland, eventually into the afternoon across northern parts of England, we'll continue to see those showers push through, at times merging into longer spells of rain, and it could be heavy. You may even hear the odd rumble of thunder. But for most, still warm in the sunny spells, highs reaching around 26 degrees Celsius in the south. Heading into Friday, still once again northern areas catching the cloud and outbreaks of rain as once again they swift their way eastwards, but elsewhere across England and Wales remaining dry and settled as high pressure takes hold here. But the rain is likely to become more widespread on Saturday, so an unsettled start to the weekend and then a return of sunny spells and showers as we head into Sunday. That's it from me, bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition. This is, of course, the Front Pages show. Every single front page is carrying the story of Rachel Reeves, a combination of whether or not Angela Rayner's to blame, whether or not Rachel Reeves just lost it, basically, or whether or not Keir Starmer's to blame, and the economic consequences of all of that. We have discussed that at length, so I am going to move us on a little bit now and talk about a story that is in the Sun newspaper, and they have, I think, all respect to the Sun, because I do love the Sun, ripped us off, shamelessly here, ripped me off, specifically, actually. Their inside story is a hotel that is part of a group which is set to get £2.5 billion worth of taxpayers' money over 10 years, has been running a fast food company. It's a migrant hotel, a fast food company from within an asylum seeker hotel. And yesterday, I don't know if I might be able to bring this up, I played you a little video of the inside of this. It was called Big Boy Burgers, and it was a migrant hotel that had this in, Deliveroo signs outside of it. Oh, it's ridiculous what's going on.
But also, I just want to pay tribute to the citizen journalists that are going around and videoing these hotels. They're doing amazing work. One account that I shared the other day was Truth Hurts 101 UK, and also Active Patriots. They are going around exposing these migrant hotels. Now, can you imagine you're sitting at home and you order a Big Boy burger, and then suddenly you find out it's in a kitchen full of illegal migrants who, no disrespect to them, when you look at the videos, they look like they need a shower. They look like their hygiene is diabolical. Now, this is tax-funded money going to this hotel, and it's being abused as a food delivery business. There needs to be heads that roll over this, and the government need to work out why so many of these illegals are delivering our foods. Who's directing them?
In fairness to the Sun, sorry, I'll come to yourself, but in fairness to the Sun, who I have accused of ripping me off, because we covered this story yesterday, and if you don't believe us, here's a video of what we played for you yesterday.
Big boy burgers. Big boy burgers. So this kitchen is rented out to Big Boy Burgers. Yep, this is the kitchen where they make your food. This is where they make...
They have moved the story on a little bit, to be fair, by saying that hotel chain is going to get £2.5 billion worth of your money, and they clearly can't. I mean, they can't stop a Deliveroo restaurant running from inside it. It seems a bit daft, doesn't it?
Well, it's crazy. Am I to assume that the people working there are the illegal migrants?
We don't know. We are assuming that the delivery drivers were probably illegal.
Yeah, there's local residents saying they're seeing people coming and going. I mean, you know, arguably it's not the point, is it? You're not paid to use this hotel as a restaurant. You're paid to look after asylum seekers. So it's absolutely outrageous whichever way, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. There's going to be a probe into this. It's in Wakefield, by the way, in West Yorkshire. The probe is going to establish if that particular hotel chain broke the law, by subletting the kitchen in recent months to a fast food businesses, Big Boy Burgers and Absurd Stacks. But, you know, I mean...
Let's get this right. I'm right in thinking it's not the asylum seekers who set this up.
No.
No, OK. So it's the hotel chain or it's the company that takes the commission from it. So these are the people that we should be going for. These are the people who are creaming money from the government off of these hotels. So let's go for them rather than saying, oh, it's migrants. They have
well, that's what the Sun are doing, isn't it? They are exposing the hotel.
Absolutely. Yes, but I mean, why? There's so much money that in the last few years since hotels have been used that these companies who are flogging them to or facilitating them for the government are making. And frankly, these are the people we should be going for.
You can't get around this. These are illegal migrants. Would you be comfortable with an illegal migrant whose background you do not know delivering food to you, or maybe if you've got a child, one of those at home?
Do you know?
Would you?
I've never had a food delivery,
but would you be comfortable with that?
But if I did, the kitchens are probably staffed by illegal migrants. And
but would you be comfortable with someone coming to your front door that has come from Somalia or Afghanistan?
Absolutely, why not? I don't understand.
No disrespect, you're so naive.
About the staff.
So naive.
You found that word naive. And
no, but it's pure naivety. This is pure danger.
I can teach you a few new words and then you can use them.
Oh, here we go, the snobbery.
Let's bring Cressida in. Sorry, Cressida, what was your...
Well, look, whether you feel you're attacking migrants or not, I feel sorry for anybody who's working in illegal conditions, because they're not going to be protected, are they? They're not going to have access to the sort of rights and pensions and all the good stuff that we expect. It's not right.
No. There's some more detail in this Sun story, which actually is quite enlightening. So the hotel chain is apparently EC4, that's what it's called. They have 3 other hotels, and it's run by a Monaco-based person by the name of Nadia Kovic Nasser, who's 66. He had a turnover of 18 million quid in 2024. So they are coining in off this, and it would seem subletting their restaurants out, or their kitchens out, sorry, to restaurant chains. I mean, it's pains to say that I think it's Uber Eats and Deliveroo have come out since, basically denying any wrongdoing but looking into it, and they've shut the restaurant down, or the whatever it is, kitchen down, suspended it until they can find out what's going on there. But yeah, it just seems, Nina, it just seems a little bit like we're being taken for mugs here. I mean, we know that one of the big jobs that these illegal migrants are doing is with Deliveroo and Uber Eats, and there in Wakefield, they've actually someone has set up a fast food company inside a hotel.
It's ridiculous, and you know what we should have are identity cards. So it makes the police's job much easier than you know. That's one of the reasons why, for instance, migrants come here rather than France. It's easier to get lost in the kind of the black market system of working.
Who told you that? Tony Blair.
I've never had a conversation with Tony Blair.
Tony Blair is obsessed with ID cards.
I'm not obsessed with...
A lot of us at the Together Declaration are pushing back against digital IDs and ID cards for that reason, because it can be used to control us.
Yeah, I don't want to have an ID card because the government can't sort this out.
But you have a passport.
Well, but it's up to me if I have a passport, and that matters to me.
Yes, but the thing is, surely this is a very straightforward way of
controlling us.
I just want to come in here. I just want to come in here very quickly because the Sun have quoted a distraught neighbour who says there are comings and goings at all times of the day, and they say that most of the people staying at that hotel are working, which would imply they were working there. Go on.
Just quickly, there's a lot of rumours that these migrant hotels are also being used as drug dens, and the migrants are ferrying drugs from various hotels to people in local towns.
Well, it would make sense if they're in that loose line of work. But anyway, there we go. Very quickly now, Jaguar. Do you remember when they did that complete woke rebrand, where basically instead of it being a proud British sports car brand, it became a car designed for trans aliens? Well, I certainly remember that. And now their sales have plummeted by 97.5%. 97.5%. So their fashion-inspired ad campaign got loads of backlash. It's paying the price. Just 49 Jaguar cars were sold in April. That's down from 1,961 the year before. Yeah?
It's not as straightforward as that. I can see that. It looks like a Virgin Airways ad, doesn't it, rather than Jaguar,
well,
you know.
Yeah.
But no, they made a deliberate decision to stop selling these cars, to stop making these cars, because they want to launch an all-electric. I don't have an electric car. I don't want an electric car. But let's get the facts straight. Okay. It's not just that people aren't buying them.
OK, all right, well, fine, OK. But, I mean, I don't think the trans aliens help. But anyway, coming up, P. Diddy has avoided life in prison after being found not guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking charges. I am going to speak with US Attorney Gloria Allred, who is known for taking the highest profile cases in the country, in America. Let's do it when I come back.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
The European heatwave is set to continue, many areas seeing temperatures widely in the mid to high 30s, and this could be enough to trigger some thunderstorms across the Alps. But across Portugal, Spain, mostly settled, but still those intense temperatures starting to drop away from Thursday onwards. Some quite heavy showers across parts of Switzerland. These could bring some intense hail and also some frequent lightning. But as we move our way eastwards across the Mediterranean, mostly settled, plenty of sunshine and temperatures widely still in the mid to high 30s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christys tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christys tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Rachel Reeves, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. So the big story, other than the Chancellor crying in the House of Commons, is Sean Diddy Combs. Now, he's been found guilty of transporting women for prostitution in a high-profile New York trial. It's on the front, by the way, of the Daily Star. But crucially, was cleared of more serious charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. Well, I am joined now by, really super famous American attorney, Gloria Allred, who I believe has represented people who've brought claims against people like R. Kelly, Arnold Schwarzenegger, etc. So thank you very, very much. Tremendous to have you on the show. Is this quite a bad result for the people who have been saying that Diddy's guilty of all sorts of stuff?
Well, it's a mixed result. It definitely is a better result for the defense than it is for the prosecution, because, as you pointed out, the most serious charge, which was RICO, which means Racketeering, Influence, Corrupt Organization Act. The prosecution alleged that that was a criminal enterprise that he was leading, not just a business, but they didn't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt to the jury. And the sex trafficking, that could have given him life in prison. The two sex trafficking charges that he was also accused of having violated, also not guilty. That could have also sent him to prison for quite a while. They would have had to find coercion, force, fraud in reference to the sex trafficking. One would have thought that looking at the CNN video from the Intercontinental Hotel here in Los Angeles, where I am, where he is shown to be, she's trying to escape and he's beating her and dragging her back.
Why was he not charged with that? Sorry, Gloria. Why was he not done for that specifically, basically chasing a woman down a corridor and beating her up?
Well, and that's a good point. And the answer is, he's not charged with domestic violence. Domestic violence is not something that is a federal charge. That would be a state prosecution, and the state did not prosecute because she never made a police report to the state. So, but then when the feds saw her civil lawsuit, which is essentially laid out a roadmap to what he'd been doing allegedly to her, they became interested in investigating that criminal case, and that's what happened.
Just quickly, sorry, Gloria, but just quickly, how long do you think he's going to get in prison?
That's difficult to say. Potentially, he could get maximum 10 years on the transportation for purposes of prostitution across state lines. That's the maximum. It's unlikely he's going to get 10 years, and he could get 10 years consecutively, means one after another, 20 years. He's not going to get that. There are guidelines. The court has discretion, and the court will look at his record. He still will have to have a probation department interview, which will be discussed very soon in July on a remote conference. Okay. And the court has to look at the total report on his background, and then we'll see. By the way, he also at some point will get credit for time served. That is the time that he has been in jail or prison awaiting his trial. So that will come off. That will come off.
Yes. Gloria, thank you so much. Real pleasure to talk to you, and I hope to talk to you again very soon. Gloria Allred there, American attorney.
My pleasure. I'd love to.
All the very best. Right, now, let's just Whiz through the front page, just bring them up. I'm not going to talk about them. I want you to just keep bringing them up because it's the same story in all of them. It's Rachel Reeves. And I'm just going to take a sweepstake here. Will Rachel Reeves still be in a job this time next week?
No.
No? Nina, do you think she will be?
Yes.
You think she will be? Adam, you don't? No?
Untenable. The whole world is laughing at our political system.
OK.
She's got to go.
Well, following this show is GB News Breakfast, if you're watching us in the morning, which I suspect you probably are now. So I think they're going to be leading on all of this. Will there have been any developments? Thank you very much, my wonderful panel. Thank you to everybody who's been watching and listening as well. I will be back again tomorrow at 9 p.m. Take care. All the best.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Any showers we've seen this afternoon, soon easing away overnight, and it should stay mostly dry, feeling a lot cooler and fresher, particularly if you compare it to nights earlier in the week. Well, we'll see the bulk of the showers easing as across eastern areas of Scotland, northeastern parts of England, eventually allowing a ridge of high pressure to build. So for a time, it should be mostly dry this evening, but low pressure never too far away, eventually dragging in more clouds, some further showery outbreaks into western Scotland, parts of Northern Ireland by the time we reach the early hours of the morning. But for most, it is going to be remaining dry. It's not going to be feeling quite as muggy or uncomfortable, lows reaching around 8 degrees Celsius in the north. Now, through the course of the morning, we'll eventually see conditions deteriorate from the west. Thicker cloud pushing in here, also some showery outbreaks. These could turn heavy at times, particularly across western parts of Scotland, and fairly similar across Northern Ireland too. We'll continue to see that cloud thicken up from the west, increasing the risk of showers. But elsewhere across England and Wales, it should be a dry start to the day and staying mostly settled too, particularly through the morning and into the afternoon, where we might just start to see some fair weather cloud bubble it. But it should remain dry, still warm in any sunny spells. But across Northern Ireland, parts of Scotland, eventually into the afternoon across northern parts of England, we'll continue to see those showers push through, at times merging into longer spells of rain, and it could be heavy. You may even hear the odd rumble of thunder. But for most, still warm in the sunny spells, highs reaching around 26 degrees Celsius in the south. Heading into Friday, still once again northern areas catching the cloud and outbreaks of rain as once again they swift their way eastwards, but elsewhere across England and Wales remaining dry and settled as high pressure takes hold here. But the rain is likely to become more widespread on Saturday, so an unsettled start to the weekend and then a return of sunny spells and showers as we head into Sunday. That's it from me, bye-bye.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Imagine having an extra £1,000 to spend each week for an entire year. £54,321 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to spend however you like. £54,321 in cash could be landing in your bank account this year. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christys Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christys Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Rachel Reeves, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.